In today's video, I want to talk about how to establish boundaries between your personal and your work life. So by the end of the video, you'll have a very nice work-life balance and you will make sure that you won't have your work life taking over your personal life and vice versa. So without further ado, let's just jump right in. The first thing that you need to do is you need to identify your needs and priorities. In order to set a healthy boundary, you must know what you want and what you need from others. So you can start asking yourself, what do you need to feel safe and comfortable and very productive in your work and your personal life? Maybe you need some quiet time on your own. Maybe you need to not be bothered during your lunch break at work. Do you need a certain amount of time or notice before you ask somebody something? For example, if you find that you're easily overwhelmed by a lot of tasks and a lot of work at your workplace, you can actually set yourself a healthy boundary to make sure that you're not being overworked and overloaded with your work, right? You could talk to your manager about prioritizing tasks on which one you should do first, or maybe delegating some of your work to other team members as well, so that way you're not too packed and jammed with all this work that's on your desk. So again, once you establish this need and goal from your life, you can actually start to make clear boundaries instead of just letting things slip along the way because you don't exactly know what you want. Number two is to make sure that you're communicating your boundaries clearly. So it's very important to actually communicate your boundaries very clearly and actually assertively to make sure that your coworkers or maybe your family members know that you're not joking around and you're actually being serious, right? Make sure you use I statements instead of you statements to express your needs instead of blaming others and pointing fingers. For example, you can say, I need some time to recharge after work and I would like it if I'm not bothered. Instead of, you always bother me after work, you always come up to me and bug me when I'm super tired. You can see how that could just kind of change his perspective, right? And you're actually using the scale to communicate your boundaries again effectively, and at the same time you're doing it in a peaceful manner and you're not being hostile towards your coworkers or your family members. No one else can read your mind, right? You know what you want, you know what you need, so make sure you use your voice to tell other people on, again, your needs and wants so they're clear about it and they can actually respect you on that. Number three is to obviously be consistent on your boundaries, right? If you set a boundary to always focus on your work and perhaps maybe only help other people when you have free time, if you kind of let one slip and then you let another one slip, then your coworkers start to notice this and be like, okay, well, he's always been helping other people out, so maybe I can help them. Suddenly one turns to two and two turns to three, and then three turns to 10 and 50, and you have overloaded yourself with a bunch of work by just simply letting one slip in, right? So again, you need to be consistent, you need to be assertive. Whether you're a close friend or whether you're an acquaintance, I'm very strict about this rule that I can only help you if I'm done with my own task. Because if you keep letting them slip, other people could actually easily take advantage of this. So by being consistent, you're actually telling other people like, okay, wow, this guy's actually really serious. He really does need to do his task, and I probably won't bug him until he's done with his work or until he comes up to me and asks me for help. Number four is to learn to say no, right? Learning to say no is definitely a healthy part of your boundary, and it could definitely be a little bit difficult to say no, especially when you really want to help someone, when you want to be helpful, and you want to be that guy that knows the solution to the problem, but you're just too overloaded with work. Everybody has their own task and you're not responsible for everything, right? And this goes between your work and your personal life as well. Whether if you're at home and a family member is telling you to do something that's not your responsibility and you're just overloaded with work already, you have to tell them no and you have to tell them sorry. I know sometimes that a lot of my friends ask me to play or to hang out and stuff, but if I do have work and I really want to work on my work and get things done, then I have to tell them no, unfortunately. Even though they're my closest friends, right? I do want to play games with them. I'm very tempted. I have to say no regardless or not. Like, I know I don't like to do it and I know I'd rather much play games than do work, but learning to say no is a very crucial step of setting healthy boundaries and actually getting things done and getting things sorted out. Number five is to actually set consequences for those who take advantage of your boundaries. Again, this is when it comes to the worst case scenario because you've already communicated your boundaries, you've already said no, but somebody just always goes up to you and always comes up to your personal space and just keeps bugging you, right? So then what do? You have to set consequences. If others are always taking advantage of you and kind of just disregarding what you said and the boundaries that you set for yourself, it can actually be helpful to set consequences for your boundary violations for others to really take you seriously, right? It doesn't have to be a harsh consequence. You don't have to harm them physically or anything or mentally, right? But it could be something simple and something small that causes no harm but it really gets the message across. For example, you just want to have a very, very relaxing weekend, and your boss comes up to you or your boss messages you online and be like, hey, I need you to come in this weekend, you know, I need you to do work and we're overloaded, we're understaffed. But then you always told your boss that, you know, you don't want to be bugged during the weekends, and your boss just doesn't listen. He just wants to keep bugging you and bugging you, right? So what do? You could maybe tell your boss, like, I really do understand that you want me to come in during the weekend, but I actually really do appreciate my time off. And as a matter of fact, I actually might need to take time off during the week, during my work week, Monday to Wednesday instead now, because you reminded me of just how much time I've been missing from my family and my personal life. Then your boss is serious. Then he might backtrack and be like, oh, you know what? I'm so sorry for bugging you on the weekend. Like, I take it back. I don't need you to come in on Saturday. You could just, you know, enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you Monday to Wednesday. You know, even though you did that, and I know that it might sound a little harsh, again, this is when the worst case scenario, right? But it does get the message across to your boss that, you know what, this guy's actually being serious, right? He's not just joking around, and he's not just being lazy, but maybe he does need some time off with his, you know, friends and family during the weekend, so I just leave him unbothered, right? This is just kind of a little example of setting a consequence to really anybody who just violates your boundaries, right? For example, if my friends keep asking me to play games over and over again when I'm just working, and thankfully I'm very thankful that it hasn't gone to that stage, but you know, I might just tell them like, oh, you know what, I actually won't be playing with you for a week now because, you know, I've just realized how much importance I have for my work. Or maybe I'll just uninstall the game and, you know, reinstall it later back on. You know, it's just something like that, something small, right? Doesn't have to be harmful, but again, it's something to really get your message across for your boundaries. And last but not least, number 6 is to be ready and open for compromise. Setting a boundary for yourself doesn't mean you shut other people out or you're not being open to compromise at all, right? In fact, actually being able to compromise really helps you build strong relationships and help you set healthy boundaries. So it's kind of a win-win situation for both parties, for you and those around you, you know, your coworkers, your family members, and whatnot. Being open to negotiation is one crucial thing that a lot of people like and a lot of people enjoy because, first of all, you don't come off as selfish and you don't come off as hard-headed being like, no, this is the only way I could have it, right? And not only that, but you could really maintain that strong connection and strong relationship with somebody you've had before if you set your boundaries and you actually compromise with their needs as well. So both of you guys from both parties can have your own healthy boundaries and establish a clear line, but again, still be in very, very good terms as if nothing even happened. For example, if you're having a very, very hard time balancing your work and personal life again, and you're going on site to work in the office, maybe you could find a compromise and maybe you can bring up to your manager about, you know, working hybrid or working remote hours for a couple days, you know, just so that time you could be at home with your family if they need something small. And by the same time, you can also be doing work at home, right? And again, you could definitely compromise with various different coworkers and family members as well. And I guarantee you that if you are open to compromise, you will definitely look like a great person on the outside, being able to hear other people's opinions and actually inputting them and applying them to your life. Now, hopefully these 6 tips help you out as well in how to set a clear boundary in your work and your personal life. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to hit the like and hit the subscribe button down below, and I'll see you guys all in the next video.